welcome back to Most Amazing Top 10. I'm Rebecca Felgate, and today we're having a bit of a fun history lesson as we talk the top 10 things Americans get wrong about their own history. Now, Americans watching, I know some of you know your correct history. For example, history buff Taylor Swift claims to know it all. So, if you're watching and you know your history, I'm sure you're gonna know all of this. But the rest of you, listen up. Here are some of the alternative facts you guys have made up about your own history. America! Coming in at number 10, Christopher Columbus discovered North America. Wrong! They all laughed at Christopher Columbus when he said the world was round. While this may be true, he was not actually the first honey to stumble upon our mate America. Firstly, how can it be discovered when Native Americans already lived there for thousands of years? I would say that's a little bit of a gaping plot hole. While it is true that Christopher did set sail in 1492, and sure, he may have thought that he was the first European to land on American shores, he actually wasn't. The first European to set foot on North American soil was actually Leif Erikson. Shout out to all the Interpol fans out there, you know who you are. Erikson was a Viking explorer who got lost and accidentally landed in the continental landmass of North America, possibly Newfoundland, which of course is Canada now, but that kind of divide came many centuries later. Nonetheless, old Columbus is often credited. Coming into number 9, Independence Day documents were signed on the 4th of July. Wrong again! To be honest, I had no idea either, although I'm not American, obviously. The famous Declaration of Independence was publicly announced on the 4th of July 1776, although it was formally decided upon in a vote on the 2nd of July. After the public announcement, it took almost a month for the document to be written up and signed. Most delegates actually signed the Declaration of Independence on August 2nd, 1776. However, the American public celebrates Independence Day on the 4th of July to correlate with the public announcement. Coming in at number 8, a lot of Americans don't have any idea who they gained independence from. According to a Gallup poll, 30% of Americans between the age of 18 to 29 do not know that they gained independence from the British. Answers actually varied from France to China. But guys, it was my British forefathers, who I guess are your British forefathers too. I feel like a lot of you people could learn a lot of things from going to see Hamilton the musical. Like A, it's excellent, and B, it's very educational. Coming in at number 7, no one actually ever shouted, "The British are coming!" Those pesky Brits. Many people think that patriot Paul Revere dramatically shouted, "The British are coming!" as British forces approached ahead of the battles of Lexington and Concord. But actually, this historic quote comes from a poem that dramatically retells Revere's horse ride to warn his people. The poem Midnight Ride by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow is where the quote comes from, not actually Paul himself. Coming into number 6, a lot of Americans don't know who Hoover is. According to statistics from the University of Pennsylvania, 57% of Americans have no idea who President Hoover was. For those of you that don't know, Herbert Hoover was the 31st Pres. He was Republican, he served one term from 1929 to 1933, and he regularly ranks as one of the worst presidents of all time. If you want to know why, then you should check out our video on the top 10 worst presidents, where we go into much more detail. A popular misconception coming into number 5, a lot of Americans think that the witches in the Salem witch trials were women. The Salem witch trials were a series of hearings which resulted in mass hangings between February 1692 and 1693. While history seems to teach people that most of those punished in the case of mass hysteria were women, actually, plenty of men were tried and killed too. 14 women were hung and killed, but 44 men were put on trial for witchcraft, 7 of which were killed, one by torture, which, Okay, so many Americans believe this, it's crazy. At number 4, we have America defeated Hitler in the war. Yeah, well, not really, they definitely helped, but I would say the advancing Soviet Union were the main reason that Hitler lost the war. Hitler's main mistake in World War II was trying to fight a war on 2 fronts. The Western Front in France was one thing, but the Eastern Front was entirely another. The USA had no involvement in the Eastern Front. It stretched over 1,000 miles and exhausted German resources. The battles of Stalingrad and Kursk were instrumental in breaking the back of the Nazi army. Of course, America was fundamental, especially in France, but they alone could not and did not defeat Hitler. Coming into number 3, a lot of Americans think that Saddam Hussein was personally involved in 9/11. While the Bush administration and the congressional investigators were forced to admit that they had no evidence of Hussein's personal involvement, a lot of Americans think that he's responsible anyway. On the eve of the Iraq War, 70% of Americans believed that Saddam was responsible for the attack, even though there's no evidence to even suggest that he had any pre-war ties with Al-Qaeda. We actually still do not know 100% who mastered 9/11, although it was likely to have been Khalid Shaikh Mohammed, who has confessed to being the architect of the disaster. Coming into number 2, Mrs. O'Leary's cow never kicked a lantern over. I mean, I am shocked by this one. There's a song about it and everything. Turns out Mrs. O'Leary's cow didn't start the Great Chicago Fire by kicking a lantern over in her shed. I'm with you here, America. I thought because there's a jaunty little tune about it, it must be true, but no, it's all lies. The Great Chicago Fire that burned for 2 days from Sunday, October 8th to Tuesday, October 10th, 1871, was said to have been started in a barn belonging to the O'Learys at 137 DeCoven Street. Now, this was a false rumor to spread anti-Irish immigrant sentiments in the city, and it was started by a reporter who wrote about the story, who later admitted that it was a lie in 1911. The O'Learys and the cow were officially exonerated in 1997. Victory for the cow. Finally, what is really shocking is that, as proud as Americans claim to be of it, at number 1, most Americans do not know what the Constitution is. Despite many Americans claiming that banning guns is against their constitutional rights, many United States citizens have no idea what the Constitution is, or its history. In a 2011 study conducted by Newsweek, a citizenship test was given to 1,000 existing US citizens, and around 700 of those completing the test had no idea about the Constitution. The US Constitution is what the first United States government was founded on, and it established the first laws and rights of the United States citizens. It was signed on September 17th, 1787, and became effective around 18 months later. The first 10 amendments of the Constitution are known as the Bill of Rights. There are 27 amendments overall, although some have been repealed, like the 18th, which prohibited the manufacturing and sale of alcohol within the country, which boo. So our perspective on history is always changing, and hindsight gives us so many answers that we can't find at the time of an event. History is something that is really important to stay in tune with. Why? Because as the famous saying goes, those who cannot learn from history are doomed to repeat it. So guys, who's watching that is American that knew all of this? Let me know in the comments section down below. Also, let me know if you learned something new today. I, for one, actually really did. Who knew that the cow wasn't actually a barn blazing cow? I'm shocked. For now, thank you for tuning into this video. I'm Rebecca Felgate. If you liked it, make sure you give it a good thumbs up, share it with a friend who can learn something or two, and of course stay subscribed to Most Amazing Top 10. I'll see you guys in the next video.